Assalamu alaikum. Some people leave your life, but not your heart. Their name still echoes in your prayers. Their memory visits you when you're alone. No matter how much time passes, something inside you still feels connected. Have you ever tried to forget someone, but your heart just won't let go? Even after months or years, their name still lives in your thoughts. You wonder, why can't I move on? Why does my soul still feel attached to them? Today, I want to take you deep into the hidden wisdom of Islam, because sometimes what feels like pain is actually a message from Allah. Stay until the end. The final lesson might bring you peace in a way you never imagined. 1. Your heart loved deeply, and that is not a sin. Your heart loved deeply, and that is not a sin. In Islam, the heart is a special part of you. It doesn't just keep you alive, it's where your faith, your love, your emotions live. Allah created your heart with the ability to feel deeply, to connect, and to care. So when you still feel something for someone, even after they're gone, it doesn't always mean you're weak or stuck. It can simply mean that your love was sincere. You cared with honesty. You gave from your heart. And that kind of love, when done with clean intentions, is not something to be ashamed of. It's something that shows your soul is alive and pure. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "He who loves for Allah and hates for Allah and gives for Allah and withholds for Allah has perfected his faith." This means that love, when it is connected to your faith, when it is respectful, honest, and free from sin, becomes a part of your connection to Allah. If you loved someone in a way that was within the boundaries of Islam, with dignity, with care, and with the hope of marriage or something halal, then your heart was in the right place. Even if things didn't work out, that feeling was still real. And real feelings don't just disappear overnight. So don't blame yourself for remembering them. Don't feel guilty for the emotions you still carry. Your heart isn't broken. It's just showing that you once loved with truth. And Allah sees that. He knows the purity of your intentions. What matters now is what you do with that feeling. Whether it becomes a lesson, a prayer, or a path to something better, your sincere love will never go to waste in the eyes of Allah. 2. Allah doesn't waste your emotions. Allah doesn't waste your emotions. Every tear, every silent prayer, every ache in your heart, none of it is meaningless. Even the pain you feel when you miss someone, or when your heart holds on longer than you want it to, it all has a purpose in the sight of Allah. Sometimes we think our emotions are just reactions to what happened, but in reality, they are part of a bigger test. A test of faith, a test of patience, a test of letting go. In the Qur'an, in Surah Al-Ankabut, Allah asks, "Do people think they will be left alone after saying, 'We believe,' without being tested?" This verse reminds us that believing in Allah doesn't mean life will always feel easy. In fact, true belief is often proven through our struggles, especially the ones that take place inside the heart. When you still feel attached to someone, even after things have ended, it could be because Allah is testing your trust in Him. He wants to see if you can place your heart fully in His hands. Can you trust that His plan is better than what you wanted? Can you give up what you loved for the sake of the one who gave you the ability to love in the first place? It's not that your feelings are ignored. Allah sees them. He knows how deeply you care. But He also knows what lies ahead, what could harm you, and what could bring you closer to Him. So when your soul clings to something or someone, ask yourself, Are you holding on because it's right, or because it's hard to let go? And then, remember, letting go for the sake of Allah is not a loss. It is a form of worship. It's an act of trust that can raise you spiritually and bring you closer to peace. The pain isn't pointless. It's part of your journey to become stronger, wiser, and more connected to your Creator. And Allah never wastes the pain of someone who turns to Him. 3. You attach to the hope, not just the person. Sometimes you think you're holding on to a person, but you're actually holding on to the hope they gave you. It may feel like you miss them, their voice, their presence, the way they made you feel, but deep inside, what you truly miss is what they represented in your life. They made you feel seen. They gave you something to look forward to. In your mind, they became a symbol of a peaceful future. Marriage, stability, love, companionship. They became the one you imagined praying beside, building a life with, raising a family with. And when that person leaves or things don't work out, it feels like all those dreams were taken with them. But here's the truth that many people miss. You're not just grieving a person. You're grieving the idea of a future that you built in your mind. That imagined life became real in your heart. And that's what hurts, the collapse of a world that never fully existed, but meant everything to you. Islam teaches us about tawakkul, which means placing your full trust in Allah. True peace doesn't come from knowing your future with someone. It comes from trusting that Allah knows the future, and that His plan will always be better than yours. Even when it feels like things are falling apart, they might actually be falling into place. Sometimes Allah removes people not to hurt you, but to remove your dependence on them. Maybe you were beginning to rely on them for comfort, for security, for identity. But those things were never meant to come from a person. They were always meant to come from Allah. That's why the pain stays, because somewhere inside you're still hoping that this person will return and fix everything. You want them to complete the story you wrote in your mind. But what if Allah is trying to show you that only He can write a story that brings real peace to your heart? Letting go isn't about erasing memories. It's about separating reality from expectations. It's about reminding yourself that your hope should never be tied to a human being, because people change, people leave, people disappoint. But Allah never does. If you trusted that this person would bring you joy, imagine the joy Allah has saved for you when you trust Him even more. If you believed they would bring you peace, imagine the peace that waits for you when you surrender your heart back to the one who created it. So ask yourself gently and with honesty, was it them you were attached to, or the hope they carried? When you shift that hope from people to Allah, you'll see the pain begin to soften. Not because everything is suddenly fixed, but because now your heart is resting in the only place it was ever meant to be, in the hands of the one who never lets go. 4. Your soul still has an open door. Your soul still has an open door. Even when your lips say, "I've moved on," your heart may still be holding on quietly. In Islam, closure doesn't come from a final message, a blocked number, or time passing. True closure comes when the heart fully accepts that Allah has chosen a different path and trusts that His plan is better than our desires. Sometimes you think you've let go because the communication has stopped. You no longer talk to that person. You don't see them anymore. Maybe you even deleted photos, unfollowed them, and made dua to move forward. But if you're still secretly wondering whether they think about you, still hoping for their return, still checking if they viewed your story or liked a post, then the door inside your heart is not fully closed. It's okay. This is part of being human. Hearts don't work like switches. They take time. They process slowly. And sometimes they pretend to be over someone while still waiting quietly in the background. But here's the reality. As long as that door is open, even just a little, you're not allowing space for something new, something better that Allah may want to send your way. You're stuck between the past and the future. You're looking back while trying to move forward. And that's why your soul feels tired. It's waiting for a final release, not from the person, but from your own hopes about them. Ask yourself this question honestly. If Allah were to send someone today, someone who is better for my deen, my peace and my future, would I truly welcome that gift? If even a part of you answers, no, I'm still waiting for the one I lost, then your soul hasn't let go yet. Letting go doesn't mean the memories disappear. It means you're no longer tied to the outcome. It means you're no longer saying, it must be this person, but instead saying, I trust whoever Allah chooses for me. And once you close that door with peace, not bitterness, you'll notice a shift. Your du'as become lighter. Your heart feels calmer. You stop waiting for something that may never return and start preparing for something that was always meant to come. The past had its purpose. It taught you. It shaped you. But if it was truly written for you, it would still be with you. And if it's not, then Allah is guiding you to something greater. But only after you close the door and fully open your heart to Him. 5. You were spiritually bonded. You were spiritually bonded. And that's not something small. Some connections go beyond smiles, conversations, or even time spent together. They go deeper, into the soul. There are moments when you meet someone and the connection feels different. You might have made dua together. You may have shared personal Islamic goals, dreams of building a marriage based on deen, hopes of praying side by side or fasting together in Ramadan. Your bond wasn't just emotional or romantic. It felt spiritual. It felt like Allah was in the middle of that connection, blessing every moment. And that's what makes it harder to let go. It's easier to move on from someone when the connection was only surface level. But when the attachment feels like it touched your soul, when it included your faith, your intentions, your dreams for halal love, it feels like a piece of you is still holding on. That's why, even after everything ends, the feeling doesn't fade quickly. Your heart still remembers the purity of that connection. It still whispers what ifs. It still hopes that something that felt so spiritual must be from Allah. But here's what Islam reminds us. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "The hearts are between two fingers of the Most Merciful. He turns them as He wills." Sahih Muslim. This means that even the deepest spiritual feelings, even the most sincere connections, are still under the control of Allah. He can bring hearts together, and He can also turn them away. Not because you did something wrong, not because your bond was fake, but because Allah knows what's best for both souls, even when they don't know it themselves. It's possible that Allah brought that person into your life to awaken something in your soul, to teach you love, patience, dua, or what a spiritual connection really feels like. Maybe it was never meant to last forever. Maybe it was only meant to guide you to a better version of yourself. Spiritual bonds are powerful, but they are not always permanent. And if that person is no longer in your life, if the connection faded even though it once felt so real, then understand this. It's not a punishment. It's a redirection from the one who created both of your hearts. It means Allah is guiding you to something different, maybe a deeper connection, maybe a more balanced relationship, maybe someone whose heart is better aligned with yours in the journey of faith. So don't think that your spiritual bond was wasted. It served its purpose. It taught you how beautiful faith-filled love can be. And now, Allah is preparing you for something even greater, but only if you trust Him to turn your heart toward what is written for you. When a soul bond ends, it leaves a space inside. But that space can be filled again with something more peaceful, more steady, more lasting, if you let Allah choose. 6. You're being prepared for something greater. You're being prepared for something greater. You might not see it right now. All you can feel is the ache, that quiet heaviness in your chest that doesn't seem to go away. Your mind says, move on, but your soul feels stuck, as if it's still holding a piece of the past. You wonder why the pain keeps returning, why memories still visit, why your heart won't let go completely. But the soul doesn't feel pain for no reason. Pain in Islam is never wasted. Pain is often the beginning of transformation. Sometimes you're not feeling this way because you're weak or broken. You're feeling this way because you're healing. Your heart has been through something important. It has tasted love, loss, hope, and maybe even heartbreak. But it is still alive. It is still open. And Allah, the most merciful, never leaves a heart in pain without purpose. When Allah removes someone from your life, someone you once deeply cared for, it's easy to think you've been punished. You may even ask yourself, was I not good enough? Or did I love too much? But you must remember, Allah never takes without the intention to replace. Not always with a person. Sometimes He replaces them with a lesson, a strength, a closeness to Him that you never knew you needed. This emotional attachment you still feel, it's not because you're going backwards. It might be because you're in the middle of being rebuilt. When you clean a wound, it stings. But that pain is part of the healing. And when Allah wants to give you something better, He often prepares you first. By polishing your heart, removing past attachments, and making space for what's written. Sometimes we want what we lost back so badly that we forget to open our hands to what Allah wants to give us next. But Allah, in His wisdom, sees what we cannot see. He knows that some people, no matter how much we love them, are not meant to stay. They may be part of our story, but not our ending. And letting them go isn't rejection. It's redirection towards something greater. Look back at your own life. Think of the people who left. At first it hurt. Maybe you cried for nights. Maybe you thought you'd never smile again. But did you not heal? Did you not eventually laugh again? Did you not learn something valuable about yourself, your strength, and your relationship with Allah? This is the same. What you feel right now is a test, but it's also a transition. You are walking through a doorway. And yes, the doorway may feel dark, but what's on the other side could be light beyond what you ever imagined. A love that is cleaner, a bond that is stronger, a relationship that brings you closer to Jannah. But before that kind of love arrives, your heart must be ready to hold it. It must be cleaned of attachments that are rooted in expectation or fantasy. It must be filled with contentment in Allah's timing, and it must trust that what is written for you will never miss you. So if you feel like you're stuck in the middle, not fully moved on, not fully healed, know that you are exactly where Allah wants you to be, in between what you lost and what He is preparing for you, in between heartbreak and peace. in between the ending of one chapter and the opening of another. Allah is not delaying to hurt you. He is perfecting the next gift. Let the pain polish you. Let the loneliness bring you closer to Him. Let the empty space in your heart become a space that Allah fills with something more beautiful than you prayed for. Something you'll look back on and say, "Now I understand why it didn't work out before. This was worth the wait." You are not being punished. You are being prepared for something greater, for something written, for something that will feel like coming home, not just to a person, but to Allah's plan. 7. Allah is waiting for you to hand it over. There comes a time in every journey when the soul gets tired. Tired of waiting, tired of wondering, tired of holding on to something it no longer understands. It hurts, not because you are weak, but because what you carried was real. It mattered to you. It became a part of your daily thoughts, your nightly du'as, your future dreams. You didn't just imagine a person, you imagined a life, a future with peace, love, faith, and connection. You may have believed with all your heart that this person was the one, that they were your answer, that they were your gift from Allah. But now, they're gone. Or maybe they're still near, but distant. Maybe they haven't left your life completely, but you feel like they've already left your heart confused. And here you are, stuck between holding on and letting go. Your soul feels heavy, not because you're alone, but because you're trying to carry the pain alone. You haven't handed it over yet. You're still gripping it with both hands, hoping that somehow things will fix themselves, that maybe the story will turn around, that maybe if you just wait longer, pray harder, or hurt quietly enough, Allah will return what you lost. But what if this moment, this sadness, this quiet ache, is Allah inviting you to release it? Not to give up, but to give it to Him. Because the truth is, your soul still feels attached, not just because of the love, but because you haven't surrendered the pain to the one who created your soul. You're holding on to a burden that Allah never asked you to carry alone. He says in the Qur'an, "Call upon me, and I will respond to you." Surah Ghafir 40:60. He did not say, "Carry your heartbreak and fix it by yourself." He did not say, "Cry silently and never let me in." He did not say, "Struggle in your chest and pretend you're fine." He said, "Call upon me, talk to me, let me in." Because when you place your heart in Allah's hands, it is never lost. It may break, yes, but every broken piece that returns to Him becomes a seed for something more beautiful. Maybe Allah is not asking you to stop feeling. Maybe He's just asking you to stop carrying the burden alone, to stop forcing something that He never wrote for you, to stop chasing something that was only meant to pass through your life, not stay in it. Yes, you loved. Yes, you prayed. Yes, you hoped. And all of that was seen by Allah. He witnessed every tear. He heard every dua you made under your breath. He counted the silent nights you stayed up asking, "Ya Allah, if this is good for me, then bring them closer." And now, here you are. The situation has changed. The signs are unclear. Your heart feels torn between faith and fear. But still, Allah waits. He waits for your surrender. Not your pain, not your misery, but your trust. He waits for the moment you say, "Ya Allah, I can't carry this anymore. If this person is written for me, then bring them into my life in the most beautiful, halal way." But if they are not meant for me, remove this longing from my heart and replace it with peace that comes only from you. This is not a formula. This is not just a beautiful prayer to repeat like a poem. This is a conversation between a heart that is tired and the Lord who heals tired hearts. Say it not from your lips, but from your soul. Say it while crying. Say it while confused. Say it while still holding on, and then slowly begin to loosen your grip. Because the moment you truly hand it over to Allah, the moment you let go of needing to know what happens next, that is the moment He begins to replace. Replace confusion with clarity. Replace pain with peace. Replace anxiety with trust. And eventually, replace the empty space with something far better than what you once begged for. Allah never removes without purpose. He never delays without wisdom. And He never forgets a servant who comes to Him with a broken heart. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Verily Allah is shy and generous. He is shy when His servant raises his hands to Him to return them empty." Tirmidhi. Your hands will not return empty. Your dua will not be wasted. Your heartbreak will not last forever. But the healing begins not when you distract yourself, not when you scroll endlessly, trying to forget, not when you bottle it all up and smile like nothing happened. It begins when you say, "Ya Allah, I give this to you now. I give you the pain, the love, the memories, the longing. I give it all to you. Replace it with what is better." And then you wait, not in fear, not in desperation, but in quiet trust, in surrender, in peace. Because when you truly let Allah choose for you, you will never lose. He sees the things you cannot see. He knows the hearts of people in ways you never will. He knows what would break you and what will build you. And He knows what is written and what is better left unwritten. You've cried long enough. You've carried it far enough. You've tried everything. Now try surrender. Because when your soul finally says, "I trust you, Allah," that is the moment the healing truly begins. And what is coming, if written for you, will find you, not when you chase it, but when you let it go and let it return if it's meant. Because what is meant for you will never miss you, and what misses you was never meant. Hand it over and rest. Allah is waiting. My dear brother, my dear sister, maybe your soul has walked through the same pain we spoke about today. Maybe you've loved and lost. Maybe you're still healing, or maybe you're still holding on. Whatever part of the journey you're on, know this: Allah sees you. He hears what you can't say out loud, and He understands every silent ache your heart carries. So now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt this kind of soul attachment before? Did you ever struggle to let go of someone you believed was meant for you? And when you finally turned to Allah, did He teach you something that changed your heart forever? If you're comfortable, share your story in the comments, because maybe your experience, your healing, your words will be the exact light someone else needs today. And if this message touched your heart, even in the smallest way, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell, so you never miss another reminder meant just for you. This channel isn't just about content. It's about healing. It's about bringing your heart closer to Allah, especially in the moments when it feels the furthest. May Allah bring deep, lasting peace to your heart. May He replace your pain with something better, and may He guide you to the person, the path, and the purpose that was always written just for you. Ameen. There are moments in life when our hearts feel heavy, when we find ourselves tangled in thoughts of someone who may not be meant for us. You may have tried to hold on, but deep inside, you feel an unease that won't go away. Have you ever felt like this? Have you ever wondered if Allah is trying to tell you to let go of someone or something in your life? Today, we are going to uncover 5 clear signs that Allah may be guiding you to let them go. And with these signs, you'll discover the peace and clarity you've been searching for. Sign 1. Your heart feels disturbed, not at ease. Have you noticed a constant unease in your heart when you think about them? When Allah wants us to let go, He sometimes places a sense of discomfort or anxiety in our hearts. This feeling may not be obvious, but if you feel disturbed or drained every time you think about them, it could be a sign from Allah that this connection isn't what is best for you. Lesson: Allah is guiding you to trust that peace comes with detachment. When something feels wrong, it's okay to listen to your heart and let go. Quranic reflection: and whoever fears Allah, He will make a way for him to get out from every difficulty. Surah At-Talaq 65:2. Sign 2. They keep holding you back from growth. Sometimes we love people, but their presence keeps us from becoming who Allah has destined us to be. If this relationship has been making you feel stagnant or has pushed you away from your goals, dreams, and spiritual growth, it's a clear sign that Allah wants you to move forward. Lesson: letting go doesn't mean you failed. It means you are allowing space for Allah's plan to flourish in your life. Prophetic guidance. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "If Allah wants good for someone, He delays His response in answering their supplications until the right time." Sahih Bukhari. Sign 3. You feel like you are giving more than you're receiving. When you feel like you are constantly giving, whether it's your time, energy, or love, and not receiving anything in return, it can leave you feeling empty. You might give your attention, your care, or your effort to someone, but over time, you start to realize that they are not giving back in the same way. Instead of feeling supported and appreciated, you might start feeling drained, as if you're pouring from an empty cup. This imbalance can affect not just your energy, but your spirit, emotions, and overall well-being. Allah reminds us in the Qur'an that every relationship, whether it's with family, friends, or a partner, should be built on balance. There should be mutual respect, understanding, and love. When one side of the relationship gives and gives without receiving, the relationship becomes unhealthy and unsustainable. It can start to feel like you're carrying all the weight alone, and over time, this will exhaust you. It's important to recognize when you're no longer in balance, and when that imbalance starts to hurt your well-being. The feeling of giving without being appreciated is not something that Allah wants for you. Allah does not want you to keep giving your time, love, and energy to someone or something that isn't bringing you the same in return. You are deserving of care and attention too. When you find yourself in a situation where your efforts are not being met with respect, care, or love, it's a sign to reflect and take a step back. Letting go of that one-sided relationship might be hard, but it can be a step toward finding something more balanced, something that brings you peace and mutual respect. This lesson teaches us that when there is an imbalance in a relationship, it's often a sign that Allah is guiding us to focus on ourselves and to value our own well-being. You don't need to keep giving in a situation where you aren't being valued. Instead, trust that Allah has something better for you, something that will respect the balance that every healthy relationship should have. Sign 4. You no longer feel their presence in your life. There was once a time when their presence felt like home. Every moment spent together was full of comfort and connection. You shared laughs, whispered secrets, and created memories that made you feel as if your souls were intertwined. It felt natural, almost as if they were a part of you. But over time, something has changed. Now, when you try to reconnect, you realize that the bond you once shared doesn't feel the same. There is an emotional distance that has quietly crept in, even though they are still physically near. It's as though a piece of the connection is missing, something that was once deeply felt, but now seems to be slipping away. This shift in the connection can be hard to understand. After all, you've invested time, energy, and emotions into the relationship, and the thought of letting go might feel like losing something important. However, the feeling of detachment that you're experiencing is not something to be ignored. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, often places these moments of emotional distance in our lives to prepare us for something new. We may not see it in the moment, but this space can be a sign that we are meant to move forward, to step into a new phase of growth, one that will bring us closer to Allah and help strengthen our faith. When you notice that their presence no longer brings you the joy or peace it once did, it's important to listen to your heart. The emptiness that you feel is not a sign of weakness. It's Allah's way of signaling that something has changed in the relationship. If you continue to hold on, it might cause more pain, confusion, and emotional exhaustion. Allah is not guiding you to let go as a form of punishment, but rather as an act of mercy. He may be making space for something better to come into your life, something that will bring you greater peace, clarity, and spiritual growth. When the connection no longer feels fulfilling and you start to feel emotionally drained instead of uplifted, it's a sign that it may be time to detach. It's not about cutting off a relationship because it's hard, but rather recognizing that the bond has shifted and it's no longer serving your well-being. Allah, in His infinite mercy, may be guiding you to detach from this person so that you can grow in new ways, discover a new phase of your life, and find peace in Allah's plan. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, reminds us of the importance of consistency and sincerity in all relationships. The most beloved deeds to Allah are those that are consistent, even if small. Sahih Muslim. Relationships, like acts of worship, need consistency to thrive. When consistency is lost, and the relationship begins to drain your energy rather than nurture you, it's time to reflect on its place in your life. Whether it's a friendship, family bond, or a romantic relationship, if it no longer brings out the best in you, it's okay to let go. Allah's plan for you is always greater than what you might be holding on to. Sometimes, it's difficult to trust that He will lead you toward what is best for you, but know that He always does. He guides us toward the peace that is meant for us, even if it means letting go of something or someone we thought we could never live without. Trust in Allah's wisdom and take comfort in knowing that whatever is meant to be yours will find its way to you at the right time. Letting go isn't a sign of failure or weakness. It's a courageous step toward healing, growth, and deeper connection with Allah. When you trust in His plan and allow yourself to detach from what no longer serves you, you create the space needed for new blessings to enter your life. It's not the end, but rather a new beginning. Sign 5. The signs keep popping up everywhere. Lately, you may have started noticing something unusual happening in your life. It might be that you're seeing signs everywhere, perhaps in conversations you overhear, in the books you pick up, in songs that seem to speak to you, or even in the dreams you have at night. At first, it might seem like a strange coincidence, but then you begin to realize that the same message or symbol keeps popping up again and again. It's as if the universe is trying to send you a message, and as you pay closer attention, you understand that these signs are not random at all. They are meant for you, placed in your path for a reason. These recurring signs aren't coincidences. They are Allah's way of reminding you of the truth. When something appears repeatedly in your life, it's not just a fleeting moment or accident. It's a gentle nudge from Allah, signaling that it's time to reflect. Allah doesn't leave us without guidance. He places these subtle signs in our lives to help us recognize what we might otherwise overlook. They are meant to guide you toward making the right decision, toward choosing the path that will bring you peace and fulfillment. Sometimes when these signs first appear, we might not understand them right away. We might be confused about what they mean or why they are showing up. It can feel overwhelming, especially if they don't seem to fit neatly into the decisions we're trying to make. However, if the same message keeps reappearing in various forms, it's a clear signal from Allah that we need to stop and reflect on it more deeply. These signs are not random. They are Allah's way of reminding us that He is near, guiding us with wisdom we may not initially comprehend. Allah's signs are often subtle, woven into the fabric of our everyday lives. They may not come with loud voices or dramatic displays, but they are always filled with deep wisdom. When these signs keep showing up, it's a call for you to take a moment to pause. Step back from the busyness of life. Clear your mind and reflect on what is happening. This is a time for introspection and trust. It's a reminder from Allah to stop rushing and to give yourself the space to understand the signs He is sending. When you take the time to process the guidance, you will see that Allah knows what is best for you. His wisdom is far greater than our own, and by trusting in His plan, you will be led to the right choice. We are reminded in the Qur'an of Allah's closeness and His readiness to respond when we call upon Him. And when my servants ask you concerning me, indeed I am near. I respond to the invocation of the supplicant when he calls upon me. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:186. This verse is a beautiful reminder that Allah is always near, always listening to our hearts. He is ever present, ready to guide us when we seek His help. So, when you start noticing these signs in your life, take it as an invitation to turn to Allah in prayer and reflection. Don't dismiss the signs as coincidence. Recognize them for what they truly are: Allah's guidance. Trust in His wisdom and know that He will answer your heart's call when the time is right. Don't rush your decisions or try to force answers. Instead, allow yourself to be guided by the signs that Allah places in your path. His plan is perfect, and when you align yourself with it, you will find peace in knowing that you are making the right choices for your life. Sign 6. Your du'as don't feel aligned with them. Have you ever noticed a change in your du'as? There was a time when you prayed for someone with all your heart. You asked Allah to bless them, guide them, and keep them safe. You felt a deep sense of love and care for them, and your dua flowed naturally from that place of affection. But over time, something started to shift. Now, when you make dua for them, it doesn't feel the same. It feels unnatural or even forced. You may find that there's something missing from your heart, as if the connection you once felt is no longer there. This shift in how you pray is a significant change, and it's one that should not be ignored. It may feel subtle at first, but the way your heart and du'as have changed is an indication that your connection with this person may no longer be as strong or meaningful as it once was. The most telling sign here is the shift in your heart. Du'as, as we know, are not just words. They come from a deep place within us. When we make dua for someone, it's a reflection of how we feel about them. We pray for their happiness, their success, their safety, because we care. But when that feeling of sincerity fades and the dua no longer feels like it's coming from a place of love, it's a sign that something has changed. The bond between you and that person might no longer be what it once was. This doesn't necessarily mean that something bad happened. It could simply mean that Allah is guiding you to release the person from your prayers, because the connection has shifted and it is no longer aligned with what is best for you. It's important to understand that this shift in your duas is not something negative, even though it might feel painful at first. It's a natural progression in relationships, and sometimes we have to let go in order to make room for growth, both for ourselves and for the other person. Allah knows what is best for us, even when our hearts don't fully understand it. When you no longer feel peace when praying for someone, it could be Allah's way of showing you that it's time to detach from that relationship. Trust that Allah, in His infinite wisdom, is guiding you towards something better for you, something that aligns with His plan for your life. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, reminds us of the profound power of dua when he said, "A Muslim's supplication for his brother is answered." Sahih Muslim. When we make dua for someone, it reflects our heart's intentions toward them. It's an act of love, care, and trust in Allah's mercy. But when that prayer begins to change, when it no longer comes from the same place of love and connection, it's a sign that something in the relationship needs to be re-evaluated. Letting go of someone in your prayers doesn't mean you wish harm upon them. It simply means that you're trusting Allah's plan, even if it's not easy. If you've noticed this shift in your duas, it's important to trust in Allah's guidance. He knows what is best for both you and the other person. Even when your heart feels conflicted and you're not sure what to do, know that Allah is leading you toward what will bring peace, healing, and growth. It might feel like a difficult decision to make, but sometimes letting go is the most healing thing you can do. It creates space for both of you to grow and for new blessings to enter your life. Letting go of someone in your prayers is not a sign of failure. It's an act of trust in Allah's wisdom and His perfect plan for your life. Remember, trust that Allah's wisdom will guide you through this process. He will lead you to what is best for you, even when the path seems unclear. And as you let go, you open the door to greater peace and spiritual growth, both for yourself and for the other person. Allah's plan always unfolds with perfect timing, and when you surrender this connection to Him, you make space for something better, something that will align with your heart and your journey toward healing. Sign 7. You feel relief at the thought of letting go. There comes a time in every person's life when they realize something truly significant. For a long time, you may have been holding on to something or someone with all your heart. Perhaps you've invested your time, energy, and love, hoping that things would improve. You've told yourself over and over that it's just a matter of time before things get better, that things will work out if you keep trying. You've tried to make sense of the situation, clinging to hope and reassuring yourself that the effort and heart you've given will eventually lead to a better outcome. But then, unexpectedly one day, something shifts inside of you. You start to realize that the thought of letting go brings you more relief than pain. At first, this might come as a surprise. You might have expected sadness, grief, or loss at the thought of walking away, especially after everything you've been through. Yet, instead of the sorrow you anticipated, you feel a sense of peace. It's as though a weight has been lifted from your heart, and for the first time in a long time, you can breathe deeply again. This relief you feel at the thought of letting go is not something to be taken lightly. It is a powerful sign from Allah that you are on the right path. You may not have recognized it before, but this sense of peace is Allah's guidance, showing you that it's time to release what no longer serves you. In our lives, we often hold on to relationships, situations, or things because we are afraid of change. We fear the unknown and worry about what might happen if we let go. We might also feel that we've invested too much time or energy to walk away, or that leaving would mean we have failed in some way. But Allah, in His infinite wisdom, has a way of guiding us toward what is truly best for us, even when that means we must release something we've held on to for so long. When the thought of letting go begins to bring more relief than pain, it's a sign that the burden of holding on has become greater than the potential pain of walking away. Allah is gently preparing you for what comes next, something that will bring you greater peace, growth, and fulfillment. It might feel uncomfortable at first, and you may hesitate at the thought of change, but deep down, you feel that moving forward is the right decision. Trust that this feeling of relief is not a sign of weakness or failure, but a sign that Allah's plan for you is far greater than what you might be holding on to. Sometimes, the hardest decisions we face lead us to the greatest rewards, and letting go can open the door to something far more beautiful than we could have imagined. Allah's wisdom is always at work in our lives, even when we cannot see it or fully understand it in the moment. When you face the difficulty of letting go, remember that Allah's guidance is leading you to something better. The Qur'an beautifully reminds us of this truth. So indeed, with hardship will be ease. Surah Ash-Shar 94:6. The hardship of letting go, though difficult in the beginning, is part of a greater process of healing and growth. The pain you may feel initially is only temporary. Once you surrender to Allah's will and release what no longer serves you, relief will follow. This relief is a natural part of the healing process, and in time, you will see how Allah will bring peace and blessings into your life that you never thought possible. It's important to understand that the relief you feel at the thought of letting go is a clear sign from Allah that it's time to move on. This sense of peace is not just a random feeling, it's a message that Allah has already paved the way for you to take the next step in your journey. Yes, the immediate process of letting go may bring discomfort and sadness, but in the grand scheme of things, it will bring you the peace, contentment, and joy that you deserve. You are not giving up on your life, your dreams, or your happiness. You are simply trusting in Allah's perfect timing and His infinite wisdom. Trust in Allah's plan, even when it's difficult to let go. Know that what is meant for you will never pass you by. When you allow yourself to release what is no longer serving you, you make space for new blessings, for the opportunities, relationships, and experiences that will bring you true fulfillment. Allah knows what is best for you, even when it feels uncertain or unclear. He has already set the course for your life, and when you trust in His plan and let go, He will guide you towards something greater. Let go, trust in His plan, and know that by releasing what no longer serves you, you are opening the door to something far better. Whatever comes next will bring you the peace and happiness that is written for you, and you can walk forward with full confidence, knowing that Allah's mercy will guide your every step. If you've recognized any of these signs in your life, know that letting go is not a failure. It is Allah's mercy, a sign of His love and guidance, leading you towards something better. Often, we hold on to people, situations, or relationships because we fear what lies ahead. We worry about the unknown, about what life will be like without that person or thing. But Allah, in His infinite wisdom, knows what is truly best for you. He sees the bigger picture, and He wants you to experience peace, joy, and love in the right way, with the right people, and at the right time. The plan He has for you is always greater than anything you might have imagined. When the weight of the decision to let go feels heavy, remember that it's not about losing something. It's about making space for the blessings Allah has already prepared for you. What He has destined for you is better than what you've left behind. You may not see it in the moment, but trust in His timing and plan. Sometimes, the things we think we're losing are just stepping stones towards something much better. Allah's wisdom is always at work, guiding you toward the future He has planned for you, a future filled with greater peace, fulfillment, and joy. It's okay to feel the pain of letting go, but also know that this pain is only temporary. Healing comes with time. As you allow yourself to heal, to grow, and to reflect, you will gradually see the wisdom in Allah's plan. Letting go can be difficult, and the emotions tied to it might linger for a while. But in the end, this healing process will bring you closer to what is truly meant for you. Trust that Allah knows what is best, and when you surrender to His will, He will fill your heart with the peace and contentment you seek. If you found this video helpful, please share it with others who may need this guidance. Let's support each other in our journey, help each other grow closer to Allah's wisdom, and spread His light. May we all be guided to make the right choices and find peace in His plan. Have you ever felt like someone is being removed from your life? Maybe without you even realizing it at first? You wonder if it's just a coincidence, or if there's a deeper reason behind it. In Islam, we believe that everything happens for a reason, and sometimes Allah removes people from our lives as an act of protection. Let me share with you 7 powerful signs that Allah is removing someone for your own protection. These signs are not always easy to see at first, but when you reflect, you'll understand the wisdom behind them. Sign 1. Constant conflict and strain. Have you noticed that every time you're around this person, there's always tension? Arguments, misunderstandings, or feelings of exhaustion? If you feel drained after being with someone, it could be a sign that Allah is protecting you by slowly removing them from your life. Conflict can pull us away from peace, and Allah wants us to be surrounded by people who uplift us, not cause us distress. Lesson: trust that peace is a sign of Allah's protection. Sign 2. Your heart feels heavy. There are times in life when our hearts feel burdened, uneasy, or restless, even though we may not fully understand why. It's as if something within us knows that something isn't quite right, even before our mind can process it. Often these feelings are subtle, like a lingering heaviness or discomfort whenever we are around a certain person. We might not be able to pinpoint the exact cause, but our hearts feel weighed down, anxious, or out of place. This isn't just a random feeling. It's a sign, a warning from within, that Allah is guiding us towards something greater. Our hearts are incredibly powerful. They are the center of our emotions, our desires, and our spiritual connection to Allah. The state of our heart often reflects our inner peace or unrest. When things are going well and we are surrounded by positive influences, our hearts feel light, peaceful, and content. But when something is wrong, whether it's a relationship, a situation, or even our own actions, the heart can feel heavy and burdened. If being around someone causes your heart to feel uneasy, it's a clear sign that Allah might be guiding you to distance yourself from that person. Allah, in His mercy, speaks to our hearts in ways we may not always understand. He plants feelings of discomfort in our hearts to protect us from harm. These feelings are not to be ignored. They are Allah's way of warning us that something is out of alignment, something is not right. It's His protection, showing us that a relationship or situation may no longer be healthy for our soul. The heart, in this sense, becomes a spiritual compass that directs us away from what harms us and toward what brings us peace. When we feel this heaviness in our hearts, it is not a sign to ignore or suppress our feelings. It's a call to pause, reflect, and trust in what our hearts are telling us. The discomfort we feel can be a message from Allah, urging us to reevaluate the relationship or the situation, and to make decisions that align with our well-being, both emotionally and spiritually. If someone consistently makes your heart feel heavy or anxious, it's likely that their presence in your life is causing harm, even if it's not immediately obvious. Allah's mercy in this situation is guiding you away from this harm, giving you the opportunity to seek something that will bring more peace and light into your life. Our hearts are meant to be a source of peace, not a place of constant anxiety or distress. If a relationship, friendship, or situation is continually weighing on your heart, it's a sign that it may no longer be contributing positively to your emotional and spiritual health. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, does not want us to be burdened by toxic relationships or harmful influences. When the heart feels heavy, it is an invitation to seek light, an invitation to distance yourself from what is no longer serving your well-being and to make space for what will bring you peace. Trust that when Allah is guiding your heart in this way, He is protecting you from something that could harm you. It's not always easy to let go, especially when we are emotionally attached to someone or something. But Allah's guidance is always for our greater good. He knows what is best for us, even when we don't. When we listen to our hearts, we align ourselves with Allah's wisdom and open the door to better, healthier relationships and situations. In these moments, it's important to follow your heart. When it feels heavy, seek the light. Trust that Allah's wisdom and mercy are leading you away from something that doesn't serve your peace and toward a path that will bring you closer to serenity and contentment. Your heart is telling you something important, and by trusting in Allah's guidance, you are moving toward a life that is more aligned with your soul's true purpose. Let go of what causes you harm and open yourself to the peace and clarity that Allah is offering you. Sign 3. Loss of mutual respect. Respect is one of the most important parts of any relationship. Whether it's with family, friends, or someone you care about deeply, respect helps keep the bond strong and healthy. When respect begins to fade, it's a clear sign that something is wrong, and that's when it's important to pay attention. In many relationships, respect shows itself in how people treat each other. It can be through their words, actions, or even the way they listen and understand each other. When respect starts to slip, maybe through hurtful words, dismissive attitudes, or lack of consideration, the connection begins to weaken. At this point, the relationship may become unhealthy, and this is where Allah's protection comes into play. Sometimes we don't realize it, but staying in a relationship where respect is lost can cause harm. It can affect us emotionally by creating feelings of hurt, sadness, or confusion. Over time, this can even impact our spiritual well-being, making it harder to connect with Allah or find peace in our hearts. Allah, in His mercy, might remove someone from our lives, not because He wants us to suffer, but because He wants to protect us from the damage that disrespect can bring. Think of respect as a shield that keeps us safe. When that shield starts to crack or disappear, we become vulnerable to negative energy and emotions. Allah, knowing what's best for us, might step in to help us heal by slowly distancing us from those who no longer honor us in the way we deserve. He is opening the door for healthier, more fulfilling relationships that will nurture our hearts and souls. It's not always easy to let go when someone you care about stops treating you with respect. You might feel confused or even guilty, but trust in Allah's wisdom. When respect fades, It's a sign that He is protecting you and guiding you toward better connections, ones that will help you grow in peace and faith. Allah doesn't want us to hold on to what harms us. Instead, He wants us to walk the path that leads to healing and happiness. So, when respect fades, let it go and trust that Allah is making space for something much better. Sign 4. No more effort from them. Sometimes we find ourselves in relationships where we give everything we have, doing our best to keep things strong and meaningful. You may go out of your way to make the person feel cared for, loved, or respected. You try to be there when they need you. You listen to their problems, and you do what you can to make them feel valued. But despite all your efforts, you may begin to notice something heartbreaking. They are no longer putting in the same energy. At first, it might be subtle. They might not respond to your messages as quickly, or they may seem distracted when you're talking. Then, over time, you may realize that they are not making the effort to maintain the bond the way they once did. Maybe they no longer make time for you, ignore your needs, or don't reciprocate your kindness and care. This lack of effort can leave you feeling confused, hurt, and drained. When this happens, it can be easy to blame yourself. You might think, "What did I do wrong? Why isn't this working?" But it's important to remember that not all relationships end because of something you did or didn't do. Sometimes, Allah allows relationships to fade, not because of your shortcomings, but because He has something better planned for you. When someone stops putting in the effort, it may be a sign that they are not meant to be in your life, and Allah is clearing the way for something or someone that will be a better fit for you. We all want relationships that are mutual, where both people are invested, care for one another, and work together to make things thrive. If one person stops trying, it creates an imbalance. The relationship can no longer grow in a healthy way, and it becomes one-sided. Allah, in His wisdom, knows that it's unhealthy for you to remain in such a relationship, so He removes it from your life to protect your heart and your well-being. When someone pulls away, it's important to remember that you deserve to be in a relationship where both parties are equally invested. If you find yourself in a situation where you're the only one trying, it's a sign that Allah might be guiding you to let go. Letting go doesn't mean that you've failed. It means that you're trusting in Allah's plan. It's a step towards freedom, peace, and opening your heart to healthier, more fulfilling connections. The fear of letting go can often come from not wanting to lose what we've invested in, whether it's time, emotion, or energy. We may hold on because we don't want to face the unknown, or because we feel a sense of responsibility. But when someone isn't willing to meet you halfway, it can only hold you back. Allah's mercy is in the way He removes things that no longer serve your growth and well-being. Sometimes, a relationship that isn't working is simply a distraction, pulling you away from your true purpose. Letting go is a form of trust. Trust in Allah that He will provide something better for you, something that aligns with His plan for your life. It may hurt at first, but the pain is temporary. As time passes, you'll begin to see the wisdom behind the situation. Allah's wisdom is perfect, and what He has planned for you is always better than what you could have imagined on your own. So, if you find yourself in a relationship where the other person is no longer putting in the effort, trust that this is Allah's way of protecting you. Trust that He is guiding you toward a future where you can find the love, respect, and care that you deserve. It's not always easy to let go, but it's often the most important thing you can do for your growth. And remember, sometimes the best things happen when we let go of what no longer serves us and make room for what's truly meant for us. Sign 5. They lead you away from your faith. The most important thing in life for every believer is our relationship with Allah. It's the foundation that keeps us grounded, helps us navigate challenges, and ultimately defines our purpose in this world. Our faith is what gives us strength, peace, and direction, and it shapes the way we live our lives. When that connection to Allah is threatened, whether by our own choices or the influence of others, it can have a significant impact on every part of our lives. Sometimes we might not realize it at first, but certain people in our lives can slowly begin to lead us away from our faith. It could happen in small ways, through conversations that plant doubts in our minds, or through actions that cause us to stray from our values. Maybe someone encourages you to skip your prayers or makes fun of your beliefs. Perhaps they pressure you to make decisions that go against your principles, like engaging in activities that are harmful to your soul, or tempting you to act in ways that aren't in line with Islam. When you notice that someone's presence in your life is causing you to drift further away from your relationship with Allah, it's a sign that Allah might be gently removing them for your own protection. Allah knows what is best for us, and sometimes He removes people from our lives because they are a distraction, pulling us away from the worship and devotion that should be our priority. This is a form of His mercy. While it may feel painful or confusing in the moment, the truth is that Allah is guiding you back to what truly matters: your faith. Our faith should always come first. It's the one thing that can never be compromised. No relationship, no matter how close or meaningful it may seem, is worth sacrificing our connection with Allah. Sometimes we may find ourselves in situations where we feel torn, wanting to maintain a relationship with someone, but at the same time realizing that their influence is leading us away from the right path. In those moments, we must trust in Allah's wisdom and guidance, knowing that He will protect our faith by removing distractions that are taking us further from Him. The more we surround ourselves with people who support our faith, the stronger we become in our devotion. But when we allow ourselves to be influenced by those who lead us astray, we put ourselves at risk of weakening our relationship with Allah. Allah doesn't want us to suffer or stray away from what's best for us. He wants us to be surrounded by good company, by people who remind us of His greatness, people who encourage us to do good, and people who help us strengthen our bond with Him. If someone is pulling you away from that, Allah's mercy is in removing them from your life. It's important to remember that not every person who leaves our lives is doing so because of something we did. Sometimes Allah is the one removing them, not because they are bad people, but because they are no longer a good influence on our faith. It can be hard to let go of someone you care about, but we must trust in Allah's plan. He is always looking out for our best interests, and when He removes someone from our life, it's because He knows that person's influence is not beneficial for our spiritual growth. When we face situations like this, it's important to check our own hearts. Are we allowing someone to influence us in ways that make us forget our connection to Allah? Are we prioritizing a relationship or friendship that leads us away from what is good for our soul? If the answer is yes, it's time to reassess that relationship. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Allah is protecting your faith by removing anyone who makes it harder for you to stay on the right path. You might feel lonely or even guilty when someone who was once close to you is no longer a part of your life. But remember, Allah is always with you. He is guiding you, protecting you, and helping you become stronger in your faith. His wisdom is greater than anything we can understand in the moment. When someone leads you away from Allah, trust that Allah is guiding you back to Him, and in doing so, He is protecting your heart and your soul. Allah wants us to stay true to our worship and devotion, and He doesn't want us to be distracted by anything that could take us away from that. If someone's presence is pulling you away from your connection to Him, trust that Allah is looking out for you. It's not always easy to let go of someone, but Allah's protection and mercy are far more valuable than anything we might lose in this world. So, if you notice that someone is leading you away from your faith, whether through their words, actions, or attitudes, take a moment to reflect and ask Allah for guidance. Know that He is protecting your relationship with Him by helping you distance yourself from anyone who would take you off the path of righteousness. Trust in Allah's wisdom, and remember that His plan is always better than anything we could have planned ourselves. He will guide you toward the right people, the right relationships, and the right circumstances to strengthen your connection with Him. Sign 6. They create more pain than peace. When we are in relationships, whether with family, friends, or romantic partners, we naturally expect a sense of comfort, love, and peace. A healthy relationship should lift us up, support us, and help us grow. However, sometimes the people we care about start to cause more pain than peace. It could be physical pain, emotional wounds, or even mental distress that continues over time. Instead of feeling happy and uplifted when you're around them, you feel hurt, anxious, or drained. This can be one of the most difficult situations to face, especially when you deeply care about the person causing the pain. But when this happens, it's important to remember that Allah, in His mercy, may be protecting you by guiding you to let go of this relationship. It's important to understand that Allah doesn't want us to remain in relationships that harm us. He does not want us to be in situations that cause us emotional or physical distress, nor does He want us to continue investing in relationships that bring more sorrow than happiness. If someone is repeatedly hurting you, whether intentionally or unintentionally, it's a sign that Allah may be showing you a way out. While it may feel difficult to walk away, Allah's mercy is present in these moments. He is not abandoning you. Instead, He is guiding you to what is better for your heart, mind, and soul. Pain can manifest in many ways. It could be emotional pain, where the person continually says or does things that wound your heart. Perhaps they criticize you, belittle you, or make you feel unworthy. This constant hurt can chip away at your confidence, your peace of mind, and your overall well-being. Or it could be physical pain. If someone is physically harming you or putting you in danger, this is a clear sign that Allah does not want you to remain in this toxic situation. Sometimes, pain is caused by the simple fact that the person's actions bring ongoing distress into your life. Their behavior might create a constant state of worry, fear, or sadness. You may find yourself constantly anxious about how they will act, what they will say, or whether they will hurt you again. Instead of feeling at peace, you feel on edge, and the relationship begins to take a toll on your mental and emotional health. This ongoing distress is not part of the peace that Allah wants for you. In these situations, it is crucial to remember that Allah's will is always in your best interest. If someone continues to bring pain into your life without making any effort to change or improve their behavior, it's Allah's mercy showing you that it's time to move on. It may feel like a loss or even a betrayal, but in reality, Allah is protecting you. He is creating space for healing, growth, and peace by removing this harmful influence from your life. His plan for you is always better than any pain you may feel from letting go. The key is recognizing the difference between a relationship that brings occasional struggles, which are part of any connection, and a relationship that consistently causes harm without any signs of improvement. We all go through difficult times in relationships, But if someone's behavior consistently hurts you without showing a willingness to change or make things right, it's important to step back and assess the situation. Allah does not want you to sacrifice your peace and happiness for the sake of holding on to something that is hurting you. His mercy lies in the way He gently guides you to let go of what causes you harm. It's not always easy to walk away from someone, especially if you've invested time, energy, and love into the relationship. You might feel guilty, as though you're abandoning them, or you might believe that things will get better if you just keep trying. However, Allah knows what's best for you. He knows when someone's influence is detrimental to your well-being, and in His mercy, He will provide a way out. Trust that when someone causes more pain than peace in your life, it's not a sign of failure on your part, but a sign of Allah's protection. The hurt may be physical, emotional, or psychological, but it all takes a toll on your soul. Allah wants you to be at peace. He wants you to be surrounded by people who love and care for you in healthy, nurturing ways. People who help you grow, who remind you of your purpose, and who bring you closer to Him. When you're in a relationship that is filled with pain and no signs of change, it's keeping you away from the peace and contentment that Allah intends for you. Allah's mercy is in the way He removes such relationships, allowing you to heal, grow, and find better things. You may feel sad or uncertain when this happens. Letting go of someone you care about is never easy, and it's natural to grieve. But remember, Allah's plan is always better than our own. When He removes someone from your life, He's clearing the way for something better, whether that's a better relationship, personal growth, or peace of mind. Trust that Allah is protecting you, and even though it might hurt now, His guidance will lead you to something more fulfilling. In the end, the real challenge is not in the pain itself, but in how we respond to it. When you recognize that someone is bringing you more harm than peace, trust that it's Allah's mercy showing you a way out. It's an invitation to take care of your heart, to protect your well-being, and to seek the peace that Allah promises for those who trust in Him. So, let go of the pain, let go of the relationships that harm you, and trust that Allah is protecting you and guiding you toward a better, healthier, and more peaceful path. Sign 7. You begin to feel free and relieved. Sometimes, in the midst of a difficult relationship or a challenging situation, we don't fully realize how much it has been weighing on us until it's finally over. When someone is removed from our life, either through distance, a breakup, or just the natural course of life, we might feel an overwhelming sense of freedom and relief. It's as if a heavy burden has been lifted from our hearts and minds, and suddenly we can breathe easier. This relief is one of the most powerful signs that Allah is protecting us and guiding us towards a healthier and clearer path. When a person who has caused you distress, confusion, or emotional pain is no longer a part of your life, you might feel lighter in ways you didn't expect. The constant worry, stress, or even fear that once filled your days starts to fade. You may realize that, without them, you have more space in your life, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. You begin to see that you have room to breathe again, to think more clearly, and to focus on what truly matters. This sense of freedom isn't just about the absence of the person. It's about the mental and emotional clarity that comes when toxic influences are no longer draining your energy. You might notice that you now have the capacity to focus more on your personal growth, your connection with Allah, and your relationships with the people who truly care about you. It's as though the distraction is gone, and you can now hear your own thoughts more clearly, feel your emotions more genuinely, and pursue your goals without unnecessary interruptions. It's important to recognize that this sense of relief is a sign from Allah that He is protecting you. Allah knows what is best for us, even when we don't fully understand it in the moment. Sometimes, the people in our lives can create a cloud of negativity or bring chaos that prevents us from seeing the path Allah has set for us. When those people are removed, it's like the clouds part, and we can finally see the brighter days ahead. Allah is opening up space for us to grow, heal, and move forward in ways that we might not have been able to if we had continued holding on to the relationship. This freedom also signifies that Allah is providing us with new opportunities. When someone toxic is no longer in our lives, we become more open to receiving blessings that were once out of reach. We might find ourselves growing in ways we hadn't anticipated, discovering new aspects of ourselves, or finding new relationships that are healthier and more fulfilling. Allah has a plan for each of us, and sometimes that plan involves clearing our path from people or situations that would prevent us from moving forward. You might also notice that with this newfound freedom, you start to feel more connected to Allah. Without the distraction of a toxic relationship or unhealthy influence, you can focus more on your faith, your prayers, and your purpose in life. You might feel closer to Allah, more at peace, and more in tune with His guidance. The relief you feel is not just emotional. It's a spiritual cleansing, a return to the purity of your connection with the Creator. True freedom, in this sense, comes from trusting that Allah knows what is best for us. We might have held on to a relationship, a friendship, or a situation that we thought was necessary or valuable. But in reality, Allah was guiding us away from it to protect us. Trusting Allah means knowing that He sees what we cannot see, and that His wisdom is far beyond our understanding. Even though it can be difficult to let go of someone or something we care about, Allah's plan is always better than our own. When someone is removed from your life and you begin to feel this relief and freedom, it's a sign that Allah is protecting you and showing you the path to something better. Trust in His plan, even if it doesn't make sense right away. Sometimes we cling to things because we fear the unknown or feel uncertain about what comes next. But Allah, in His mercy, is always guiding us toward what is best for our hearts, our souls, and our future. As you move forward, remember that this freedom is not just about letting go of a person. It's about making room for new blessings, new opportunities, and new growth. Trust that Allah is clearing your path and making space for things that will bring you closer to Him and to your true purpose. The relief you feel is a reminder that you are walking in the direction Allah has planned for you, and that path will lead you to peace, fulfillment, and happiness. True freedom isn't just about being physically free from someone. It's about being emotionally and spiritually liberated from anything that prevents you from growing and fulfilling your potential. Allah's protection is always present, even when we can't see it. So, when you feel that sense of freedom and relief, trust that Allah is leading you to what's best for you, and remember that you are now walking a path that will bring you closer to peace and to your Creator. Sometimes in life, we go through moments of intense pain, confusion, or loss. These moments can feel unbearable, as though the world is turning against us, or as if we're losing something that we thought was essential to our happiness. It's in these moments that we often question Allah's wisdom. Why does He allow these challenges? Why do we have to face such hurt or loss? But the reality is that some of the most painful moments in our lives are actually the moments when Allah is protecting us the most. He removes people, situations, or circumstances not because He wants us to suffer, but because He loves us and wants to shield us from harm. We might not understand it at the time, but Allah's protection is often hidden behind these moments of pain. When someone leaves your life, whether it's a friend, a family member, or a partner, it's natural to grieve and feel sorrow. You might wonder if you did something wrong, or if you're unworthy of better. But Allah, in His infinite wisdom, is orchestrating everything behind the scenes. He knows what is best for you, even when you don't. If someone is removed from your life, it's often because they were harmful to you, whether it's emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. Allah sees what you cannot. He knows their impact on your heart and soul. In His mercy, He steps in to protect you by gently taking them away from your life, allowing you to heal, grow, and move forward. This process can be incredibly difficult. You may feel alone, confused, or as though you've lost something irreplaceable. But every step you take away from someone who was not meant for you is actually a step toward something greater. It's a step toward peace, toward healing, and toward finding what truly aligns with your purpose. While it may be hard to see in the moment, you'll eventually realize that this pain was a necessary part of the journey. Without it, you wouldn't have been able to make room for the blessings, growth, and opportunities that are waiting for you. Trust that Allah is working behind the scenes, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. He's guiding you toward a life that is more aligned with your true purpose. The path might not always be clear, and the road may be difficult, but Allah's wisdom is perfect, and His plan is always better than anything we could have imagined for ourselves. He removes what is harmful and brings us closer to what is best for us. It's essential to remember that Allah only removes what's harmful for us. He would never take something from us without it being part of a greater plan, one that leads to our well-being and growth. The people, situations, and opportunities that leave our lives are often stepping stones towards something far more fulfilling. While we may experience pain in the process, it is only through this pain that we can come to understand the beauty of what Allah has planned for us. When someone or something is removed from your life, don't view it as a loss. See it as an act of mercy. Allah's love and protection are evident in every decision He makes on your behalf. Even when it hurts, trust that this removal is for your benefit. It's making space for greater peace, deeper faith, and fulfillment. Your heart will find comfort, your soul will find peace, and you will eventually see the wisdom in what seemed like a painful loss. As we move forward in life, we must ask Allah for clarity, patience, and the wisdom to trust in His divine plan. It's not always easy, and there will be times when we doubt or feel uncertain. But remember, Allah knows what is best for us, and His plan is perfect. He only removes what is harmful and replaces it with what is good for us in this world and the next. May Allah bless us all with the clarity to see His guidance in our lives, the patience to endure the challenges, and the wisdom to trust in His divine plan. Ameen.